building exercises and essentials. The series you've stumbled into is a sort of tutorial on a particular kind of collaborative world building. Economic world building is a way to turn D&D or other game into a city planner simulator. I'm Lewis Nichols, and this is one way that I love to play D&D. This episode takes place one full cycle after episode 3, The Chart. For me, that's a year, but you could run your cycles, probably all the way down to quarterly. Just think about also cutting down your formula multipliers, as these are balanced for a year. For instance, the Armitage Electromine makes a starting profit per cycle of 3d6 minus 3d4 times 1,000. If you're going to do it quarterly, maybe it should be times 250 instead. The biggest thing you're going to change with shorter time spans is going to be accelerating the rate of city growth, because you're going to get to generate more rolls. These are all things that you can tweak at your discretion. One size never fits all, and these videos are just a suggestion to get you started. Okay, so you're preparing for end of cycle. Your next session is going to be all about the bookkeeping. You and your players are taking on the Bastion rules, determining the year 2 budget, and making any other decisions relative to the development of the town. Let's say it's been 3 sessions since episode 2, during which time the party has made a few connections among the Southern Barbarians. They did a 2-session dungeon crawl and spent a little downtime on personal crafting projects. Your session prep starts with deciding how any of their actions or decisions during this time affects the town's economy. That could be for good or for bad. It could affect the formula or the chart, but probably not permanently. However, use discretion. For the most part, you're going to want to trust the math. Accept the process over personal feelings. You also need to do that math. 3d6 is going to give us a 12, minus 3d4, that comes up an 8. So a profit from the mine of 4,000 gold. That's not bad. Average, by the way, is going to be 3,000. Yeah, pretty sure. 3,000 sounds good. They also have another 3,000 left over from last year. They held it back and will hold some back again this year, because a bad roll could be catastrophic if they can't cover it. This is miners not being paid and repairs not being made. When you consider morale, some people are going to leave the city, maybe a lot. As a second part of preparation, you're going to want to know which of their expenditures paid off. It's up to you whether you allow critical successes and failures. The closest thing by rule says no, because you're mimicking an ability check. As a DM, do what seems to maximize fun while keeping things manageable. At my table, 1s and 20s on skill checks are just numbers. However, for this process, I'm going to allow them to be special. For trade, the team placed an expert. It's almost their best guy, the follower who runs Phyllis's storehouse. I treat that 12 like an ability score, so it gives him a +1. As long as he doesn't roll a 1, he's good. Hey, 19 for a dirty 20. Trade goes up by 1. On a crit, I might have increased his score, or let trade increase by 2. On a 1, my go-to is reducing the trade score. But it's already pretty low, so I might have come up with something more inventive. Now for that trade score, I'm not going to make up some difference between a 1 and a 2. Both scores suck. But it's closer, one step closer, to a respectable number. We mentioned a situation where the town might not be able to sell all of its electrums. Because of the low trade score, this could be a normal state of affairs. I could very well demand a roll to see how much ore can actually be moved, and use the same roll, or a second roll, to check for shortages of goods. Basically, the trade carts are not bringing as much stuff to the city. First year, I'm going to give them a grace period, but they have been warned of the potential pitfall. Next, they threw 1,000 gold each at infrastructure and amenities. With an 11 and a 7, they both go up by 1. Again, this doesn't mean much. As a matter of role-playing, I would have them name the party bar, maybe even create an NPC to run the place. Remember that this is a new settlement. The people here are hoping for a lot, but they aren't expecting miracles. As long as there are no bad decisions or too much bad luck, they're going to be good for a while. Our updated chart looks like this. Alright, what about bastions? With 4 party members, that's going to make for 8 special facilities at 5th level. Most likely in a game like this, they're going to be considered public entities, essentially government-owned businesses. This is going to allow for the possibility of gardens, a sanctuary, armory, arcade study, and there are more. We have only worked up Phyllis right now. She has facilitated the storehouse and the barracks. Because of bastions, I would let the party choose 2 more scores that they can raise 1 spot. I do this because the numbers are just so bad, and a 5th level party active in a community really can make a difference. They choose security via the barracks and religion through the sanctuary, both of which are now reflected in the chart. And for the record, the religion expert becomes the cleric's follower and runs the sanctuary. Remember that you'll be running bastion turns as well, but those benefits go to the players, not the town budget. That is, unless they move the funds themselves. In session, the party decides that they're going to spend 3,000 gold in the fields of infrastructure, the mine, and amenities. They want to work up infrastructure so that they can appoint more experts. Improving the mine should mean more money, and amenities will reduce the chance of losing population. Again, they'll be utilizing their expert in trade, hoping for another increase there. Finally, the party's going to decide to make a trip to the capital in an attempt to recruit new settlers, new businesses, and experts in both industry and infrastructure. As for population, we're going to set that now. I'm going to say the initial settlement was 60, and that it has grown to 110. Most of these are the family members of the people who were already there, but we could include a few new business owners if we want. I will determine that at some point, but it's a whole project in and of itself. Alright, next note. One of the many things that you're going to have to keep track of as a DM is all the little decisions that players make as they go. We'll say last session that they decided to pay out 250 gold each to their followers. They also made some other expenditures that's going to affect the local economy. Some of this they could have detailed out, some of it's just random thoughts, but as long as they mark off money, it counts. These things usually shouldn't have an immediate effect. You will resolve them all at once at the end of a cycle. Alright, well, we're at 1,000 words, which is my goal, but we do need to talk about a few of these categories. We mentioned security. That's pretty simple. A higher score reduces crime and defends the city from outside attack. At around a score of 6, it would be time to start thinking about splitting the score between law enforcement and military. Right now, it is representing the existence of a few spearmen authorized to keep peace. Religion. A higher religion score is good for the unity of the community. It will lessen the effects of adversity on morale. It might lead to civic pride and/or nationalism scores, and could be split up into scores for each individual temple. Developing religion or any other of these categories could be its own video, but that'll do it for this go-around, my friends. Keep up with the comments and the likes. It's completely up to you how this series continues. Speaking of, if there's another subject, something you'd like me to get back to or start from scratch, I mean, after all, Dragon Summer did end early, but it doesn't have to be gone forever. Point is, tell me what you think. I am here for you. In the meantime, thanks for spending a little time with me today. Was I able to give you a few new ideas for your own campaign? I hope so, and I hope you all have a great rest of the day. Cheers.